Hey guys, it's Redneck Tractors here. This is try number 2 because the first time my battery died on my phone. I've got a lot of requests to do the wiring, an overview of the wiring on my tractor, and I'm going to give some little bit of background. This is a Huskee. Originally it was a Huskee garden tractor with a 20 horsepower opposed twin Kohler with stock tires all the way around. Didn't have the rear rack, didn't have the bumper. It's basically just a stock garden tractor. When I got it, it needed an engine transplant. The previous my original parts guy, the guy I got this from, he bought it running and driving. Well, the guy he bought it from got into a drunken rage and took a mini sledgehammer to the carburetor, the coil, the intake, the heads, and the exhaust. Smashed them all. Broke bolts into the block. Broke parts off the block. Engine was shot. It was basically maybe good as a parts engine. So I swapped a Briggs & Stratton opposed twin, 18 horsepower, 42 cubic inch, splash looped. I ran it governed for about 6 months to a year. Then I I was watching Fearless Front, which is why I got this tractor. And then I ended up bypassing the governor. The reason I did that is because back then this was purely a romp tractor. I didn't do really any work with it other than towing my younger siblings around on the sled and trailer and stuff. Well, over the years, I've beat the ever-living crap out of this thing. I mean, the one wheel, I think it was my front left, the spindle is a 3/4 inch shaft. I walled out the bushing in that wheel till it was an inch and an eighth. I had camber like a riced out Honda. My brakes were pretty much garbage. The engine was knocking. That was because of a oil leak I caught too late. And because of that oil leak, if you run a little too low on oil in a post twin, the upper rod starts knocking and splash looped. That's what happened with mine. I ended up losing the upper connecting rod about 5 months later, 5-6 months. After that engine blew, I was piecing together a bunch of post twins because I got a bunch of parts from my parts guy. And finally I got tired of piecing them together because it got wintertime. So from when I moved out here, is when it finally blew. I traded a bunch of scrap I had for a 16 horsepower Vanguard V twin, fully pressure lubed. It's still got the governor on it. I took this is a factory rope start from a Briggs & Stratton opposed twin first gen that just sits on there with the flywheel nut. Another thing is, you might notice the Yard Pro hood on my Huskee hood. My stepsister ran the tractor into a tree and broke this mount right here and a mount down here, so this one and this one wouldn't connect. Well, because of that, I got rid of it. I ran just the bottom half for a while, and then I took some bolts and ran them through the sides of these into the dash right here, and just used it like a car hood. Sorry for shaking this and video stuff. It's cold. Michigan makes it cold. But this past year or so, I've been trying to rebuild it, fix it up. I built this bumper for it out of a old treadmill frame. It's quite strong. Like, I'm 180 pounds. Not moving. I was jumping off of it, and then coming down and stomping onto it. Nothing. This rear rack is an old bed frame with. This is from the shelves like you find in closets and stuff. I just cut the one the little 90 piece that sits along here off. These blue plates down here are just some sheet plates, steel plates I got from my neighbor. It's all bolted together. There's nothing welded on there. Not yet, anyways. I plan on welding it. But that's strong too. I mean, I've jumped up and down on it too. The rear tires are off an old John Deere. They are 23 by 10.5 by 12, which is the stock size, but they're bar tires or ag tires. And they are heavy. And they are heavy because they have 50 pounds of beet juice in each tire. Well, the tires themselves weigh about 20-30 pounds, tire and rim, on top of 50 pounds of beet juice. So I've got about 70-80 pounds per tire. That's a lot of tire weight. That's, let me see, 140 to 160 pounds worth of tires. Not light, which makes this tractor very, very heavy. I'm guesstimating it's somewhere to the 600 to 700 pound range as is right now. Between bumper, tires, rear rack, winch, all the accessories I put on it, etc., etc. These front tires, I replaced them. These are new rims. These aren't the ones that I got with the tractor. They're 8-inch rims, still stock size rim, but the tires themselves are actually bigger. They're 18 by 8.5 by 8. Stock was 16 by 6.5 by 8. These are actually rear tires off a lawn tractor that I swapped over to these rims and put tubes in them. So I've got tubes in each one. And on this side, I've got a 4-way valve stem tool. It just screws. That's actually a thread. The part that's screwed on is actually a thread cleaner upper, but I just left it on there so I can have one if I need it. And these are so much better. I've rebuilt the steering in this, so now my steering, it's got some slop in it, but that's not too horrible compared to what I'm used to. I used to be able to do like this, like half a turn, and not get any steering. I also added the deck lift brackets. I still had the deck lift handle, but I didn't have, this was seized up on it when I got it, so I took it off. And I didn't have the, I can't remember if I had them or not, but the deck lift brackets. I put them on because I plan on putting a deck on here. There's my foot throttle. It just attaches to the stock governor. I gotta pull my cable apart. It's a little too long and it's catching somewhere. I don't know if it's a kink or what. Oh, this is the transaxle is a 633A 68, which is a 3-speed with high-low. So 2 low reverse, low and high reverse, and then the 3 gears have low and high. So they mark it as a 6-speed. You notice all the lights. Those, I have headlights, turn signals, and brake lights. One of my headlight bulbs are out, but I dropped it, but you can get the idea. In the back, I just put new ones in today. These are dual bulb marker lights. I think, what are they? They are the 138 series double bubble clearance marker light. They are 4-inch by 2-inch, and they're 1.125 inches thick. I had just 4 by 2-inch oval marker lights with a single bulb, and they weren't bright enough, and they were dirty, and yeah. But put those in so you can see my brake lights. Oops, my switch is stuck. There we go. But brake lights off. I've also got turn signals. I'm actually surprised that switch is actually sticking. Usually it acts like a momentary switch. And I'll pop open the hood to show you. I've also got this. Everything's pulled in my key switch. I turn the key switch off and pull it off. Lights don't work. Nothing works. Turn the key, put the key in, and now I've got power. I've got, this is my main battery or switch for the winch. You can hear it. And then this is my hard wire, and then this is the factory wireless. This is a hardwire modification you can do for these Batland 2,500 pound winches, or these small winches. In my wiring, I've got a 6-blade fuse block with, if I turn my lights on, if I pull, I think it's this one, yep, that red LED that comes on, that shows if it's a blown fuse. Basically it shows it's not making a connection through the lights. You turn it on, or you plug it in. I can get I'm not left-handed, so this is a pain. There you go. Well, these 2 screws are sticking out. I haven't had a chance to get shorter ones. What happens is, I'll pull my rope start out the way. This is just because this is for the factory rope, the rope start I have on here for a backup, or in this case because my battery's dead. When I was doing the lights, I left them on when I went and got dinner, and yeah, not good. But I'm using only 5. This is for the 12-volt power port. This is for the lights. This is for the winch. This is for the turn signals, and this one, trying to remember what this one's for. Let me see. Lights. Power port, lights, winch, turn signals. I'm trying to remember what this one's for. Oh man, you gotta be kidding me. I can't remember. My battery's dying, so I gotta make this quick. But that's my mechanical flasher relay. This is the switch for the, basically it goes from fuse block to flasher relay to the center pin on this on switch. And so when two sides, these back 2 connect, that's one set. Side turn signals, the front 2 connect, the middle and the front connect, that's another set. Oh, that other one's for my PTO. You can hear it. That's for my electric PTO. I'm running dual batteries, 340 cold cranking at battery, die-hard, and this is from an old jump start battery. Let me see what else. I got my solenoid. All the connections in this are heat shrinked and soldered, like if I had to splice 2 wires together. I've got crimp connectors, and then I've also soldered these. I zip tied all my wiring up to make it look nice, because it bugs me when wiring is not nice. Like, this bugs me, but I haven't had a chance to mess with it. I've got choke cable, manual choke. I don't think my battery was, oops, apparently I didn't have my key in all the way. Yep, battery's dead. But I'll start her up and let her idle for you. I can't really rev it up too much right now because my younger siblings are in bed. Cold Michigan. Oop. Probably should have put a little bit more oomph in that. I rebuilt the steering in it because my old one was so wore out, it's not even funny. I also put a new gas tank in it because the old one was leaking out the threads. I'll take it for I gotta park it out back anyway, so. You may have also noticed this wire coming out the front. This is tied into my headlights. It's got power when my headlights are turned on, and the reason being is on my snow thrower I've got an LED spotlight because the chute tends to block the headlights. So it's just a 6 LED spotlight wired up to the female end of the connector. Works great. This snow thrower is a 40-inch, meant for like a lawn tractor Craftsman, a Craftsman lawn tractor. I have the equivalent of a Craftsman GT 6000 garden tractor. So custom mounts were made, i.e. these green ones in the back. I've also had to convert it from a manual engagement to electric engagement. And these ones right here, these kind of bend outward like that. I gotta eventually make some brackets to make it fit, but it works. I'm planning on painting this whole tractor matte black, similar to what I have here. I did this years ago and just ran out of paint in time. This yellow deck here is a 48-inch off of a John Deere LA 145. It's a 3-spindle deck. You can see down there. And I did some work and ended up getting it from my new parts guy, which is who I got the engine from. I gotta do some modifications, like move the brackets on the inside. I gotta add some pieces I got from the Craftsman, which are these 90s, so I can hook it up to my deck lift. And I gotta make some sort of front bracket for that front one, but should work with my tractor if I get it to work. It's got the belt and everything on it too, so hopefully I'll have a sweet nice mower deck. This originally came with a 50-inch, but I sadly didn't get it when I got the tractor. So, and then another thing I want to eventually add on to it, hopefully I can get here before my battery dies, it's down to 14%, is, where did I put it? Right here. If anybody knows what this is, you'll know this is kind of rare. This is the 12-volt electric actuator from a Sears Suburban 3-point hitch. It works and everything. It's got the one bracket down at the bottom. I did some work for my parts guy and got this in the mower deck. So, and I've also got a whole nother tractor, Ranch King, with a Peerless 2300 and a Briggs Vanguard V Twin 20 horsepower, which will be going in here. Sorry, 16. I'll be swapping the 16 horsepower Vanguard single cylinder into it. It's a good engine. Only problem is it's a single. Well, right now I'm running V Twin. I want a parts V Twin. So, but let's see if I can take a video of this working. It could. Need a third person. Wrong direction. Need to do the other direction. Hopefully you can see that in the video. I'll try adjusting the camera. I'm not sure. I can't see my camera right now, so. But it works great. If I had I wish I had it when I had this when I had my snow plow, because I sold that and I ended up buying the snow thrower, because this would allow me to put down pressure on that snow plow, which would have made it a lot better. Put this back in my shelves to keep it out the weather. Hopefully you were able to see that, because like I said, I got no clue. I think that's all for my turn signals. These are they have a ground inside of them, so you just got one wire coming out of them, which is the positive. I just tied the positive wire from this one and the positive wire from that one, ran that up to, like, when I push down on this, that side would connect. And you can hear the mechanical flasher, and then same thing on the other side. I can try to draw up a diagram sometime, but I'm happy with this tractor. I beat on her for years. She took it about 5 years, and honestly, you can't ask for a better tractor. I highly recommend these older garden tractors, specifically the ones with the 633A. But I also recommend old wheel horses with the cast iron 8 speeds, and the any old tractor with a Peerless 2300. The reason I recommend these tractors over any tractor that has an 820. And the reason I recommend them: 2300 Peerless and the 633A have 1-inch axles. 2300 Peerless, all of them are, from what I know, 1-inch axles with a 1/4-inch key. 633As, the older ones, have 1-inch axle with a 1/4-inch key. Well, mine, which I believe is a 633A 68, has splined axle ends. And major difference between the two is the axles, and mine has 3 planetary gear sets, and the ones with the 1-inch axles with 1/4-inch key have 2 sets. So I consider mine stronger because of the more planetary gears, more force that they can take. The frames on these are actual or actual frame rails. It's not a stamped steel frame. Well, okay, I guess the frame rail you might be able to, it might be stamped, but it's not like a riding mower frame like the one that's sitting over there. It's actual the frame rails bolt together, with cross members, like the steering. There's a plate right there that the motor mounts to. The front right here. Then there's a couple brackets in the back that hold it, and then this back plate, which is nice thick steel. It's heavy duty. It's old steel. The only plastic is this hood. The hood and the console. Everything else, old nice steel. I love it. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention. I also have for my wiring, I don't know how well you can see this, but it's a trailer 4-pin connector. So I can tow trailers and they'll have turn signals. Haven't set up brake lights because I'm not sure how to with my switch method. Normally it would have a computer being able to tell it how to do when the turn signal's on and blah 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 blah. I've got all mechanical. I don't have any computers in this whole thing. There's not a single computer on it except for the voltage regulator. I gotta retract that statement. The voltage regulator is the only computer on this entire thing. Everything else is mechanical. Or analog, I should say. And that's how I love. I rather have analog controls than electronics. I rather have carbureted over fuel injection, unless it's mechanical fuel injection, like I think it's a 12-valve Cummins. But this thing's a beast. Like, I've made my own trails. I don't know how well you can see these, but this is a hill on a 45-degree angle. It's nothing but mud. 90% of the time, I make it up just fine. Other 10% of the time, I sent it a little too hard when it was a little too muddy, and I ended up having to use the winch. Like, this hill's another 45. I can get up there. Like, you can see my ruts from when I was pulling down a dead tree over here, that tree branch. I've got trails all through here. Back when I had my plow, I also made a front mounted mower deck, and I cleared all this out. It was a heck of a dust storm, but that mower deck was awesome. It was a Simplicity 44-inch front mounted mower deck. I just had my uncle DJ came out, welded a couple brackets on the back of it so I can just take the blade off the plow, leave the plow arm on the tractor, use the same bolts to bolt the mower deck in place, and then run a belt to the back of the tractor or to the engine, and voila, front mounted mower deck. That was a manual engagement then. I didn't have my electric PTO like I do now, but I've had this tractor for about almost 5.5 years, I think. This is the second gas engine thing I've ever had. The first one was a adult tricycle with a Tecumseh Peerless, or not Tecumseh, Peerless. It was a Tecumseh Eager 1 3 horsepower engine. It had, I believe, I don't think it was a 3/4 inch shaft. I think it was a bit smaller. Maybe a 5/8 shaft, I think is what it had. Had a centrifugal clutch, and the motor was on the right side of the frame. All the motor weight was on the right wheel, and the drive wheel was the left wheel, rear wheel, and then it had one wheel in the front. And I ended up giving that away because I ended up getting this. I worked a summer for my old parts guy down in Jackson and got this in its stock form. And I ran this thing like that for a long time. I drive through swamps. I rarely got this thing stuck. And if I did get it stuck, I was able to pull it out by hand. So most of the time I got stuck because I ran out of gas. That's most of the time, because I had a leaking gas tank back then too. I think that's all. I know this is a really long video, and I'm not going to edit it for the pure reason of I'm using a cell phone recording this, and it's got a lot of good info on me, my beginnings, how I started out, what I've done to the tractor, what I plan on doing, which is making the 3-point hitch, making that mower deck fit. I'm going to try to make it fit as a belly deck, because my plans are fix this thing up, paint it all matte black similar to the snow thrower, make actual good mounts for the snow thrower, and sell it. And the reason I'm doing that is because I need to get a vehicle. I am 18, still living with my parents. I have a part-time job working on tow trucks, but I have to get a ride from my dad. Thankfully, he works there too, so not too big of a deal. But I want that independent freedom, so I'm fixing this up, putting a little bit of money into it, a lot of time, and I'm a seller. Rather not, but if I can get a vehicle, that's something I'm going to do. Alright, I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Redneck Tractors out.